My wife, 26, and I, 31, are having a very difficult time meeting people who enjoy doing the same things we do, which up until very recently we thought were just normal activities everyone likes. I can't figure out if everyone's changed or if we're just going about this in a weird way. Hey all, hope your day's going well. Before I start, I want to point out that this is primarily something we've noticed pre-pandemic. We've all been very safe during the pandemic. Brief backstory. My wife and I both grew up in lower middle-class suburbia, about 1,000 miles apart, and have fond memories of childhood and the types of activities both sets of parents who would have been aged 27, 35 at the time, about the same ages we are now, and their friends all did. For example, each of the neighborhood dads would have a cool toy like a top-of-the-line grill, or a boat, or a bunch of quads, a pool, etc. And one weekend we'd go over to the grill guy's house for a cookout. One weekend all the dads would get together and go fishing with the boat guy. One weekend all the families would go over to swim in the pool and hang out with the family with the pool. You get the idea. Obviously not every weekend, but it happened often. My dad didn't have any boats or pools, but our house had a split basement where one side was a playroom for the kids, like game systems, board games and art supplies, and the other side was a playroom for the adults, complete with 2 pool tables, darts, and a minute. The neighborhood mums would usually work part-time jobs, and then on weekends take all of the kids to the local pool or the beach. I remember many summer days of loading up the station wagon with coolers full of Capri Suns, potato salad, and snacks from the dollar store to head over to either the pool or the beach where I'd meet all my friends, and my mum and her friends would not so sneakily drink a shit ton of wine coolers. Sometimes they'd trade off, and the dads would all stay home to watch the kids, which usually meant they'd watch the game, send the kids to the basement to play video games, and we'd all get pizza and wings for dinner, while all the mums got dressed up and went clubbing. My wife had a very similar childhood experience, with a few key differences, different parenting styles, and different political climate. But what we both gathered from it all was we work hard and play hard. And this is how normal people live. Yeah, currently, we're trying to do that. Minus the kids because we don't have kids and don't know anyone with kids, and everyone we've met thinks it's weird. I understand that the pandemic is kind of screwing up any outdoor fun people want to have right now, and we've been taking the pandemic very seriously and staying indoors. But we've noticed this well before the pandemic as well. We lived in the suburbs in New England for a while. Then we moved to a college town. Now we're in an urban area in the south, and in each of those areas we found a group of friends, but haven't been able to find anyone who likes the same activities we do. We like fishing, grilling, going to the beach, going to the pool, taking a staycation just for fun, going clubbing in the city, having backyard parties and cookouts, hosting dinner parties, going camping. When we were in New England, we'd invite people out to our lakeside cabin to go kayaking, drink wine, and enjoy a day out at the lake. You get the idea. Don't have a boat yet, but we're working on it. We're both very social people. We haven't met a single person who wants to do literally any of those things, mostly because they're exhausting. It's not like we're asking people to go skydiving or take helicopter lessons. I feel like all the things we're interested in are pretty regular, everyday activity. We've had people call us boomers. We've had people jokingly compare us to golden retrievers, and almost everyone calls us extra. While I'm sure most of it's just joking around, we've definitely gotten the vibe that the things we like to do are very strange. This is odd for me because I've always considered myself a pretty normal guy. So it's weird to be the odd one out. Most of the people we've met in the past 5-6 years seem kind of lethargic, and almost everyone acts like Eeyore. And I am not saying to be mean. I just don't really understand it at all. Where should we be meeting people who are more like us? Do people like that still exist? Too long don't read we're looking to meet people who enjoy the same activities we do once the pandemic is over, of course. Most of the people we have met tell us the things we like to do are exhausting. Edit, everyone's really harping on the lower income thing, and I feel like there's a disconnect here. Boats are significantly cheaper in real life than the quotes I've seen in this thread, and were probably even cheaper than that in the mid-90s. Sure, they're not cheap, but you can find a descent boat for a couple grand and drive it to a local lake for free. Edit 2. I just looked up exactly how much a descent boat costs. Found some nice ones around the quality the people in my neighborhood had for around $3,000, $4,500 plus some really nice ones for around $6,000. I feel like our are getting ripped off in the boat department if you're spending more than that dock. Like I said, it's expensive and you have to save and prioritize. But $3.5 isn't exactly rich guy money, especially considering they last decades. You can get a pool at your local Best Boy / Walmart for $1,500, plus most of the time. I mentioned we loaded up the car to go to the pool. Was the public in-ground pool our neighborhood had? A good grill is around $300 again. Was probably cheaper in the 90s. Literally none of these are rich people things if you prioritize them and save for them. I got to ask an uncomfortable question. Are the activities exhausting, or are you? I'm wondering if this is less to do with the type of things you want to do and more with the fact that you have been described as golden retrieved. Like, are these people perhaps overwhelmed by you and your wife? Phew, I work 40 hours a week. I'm tired all the time, but I'd be down for many of the things you suggested. What about something like Meetup? Is that still a thing? Where you look for people that share some of these interests, you may need to broaden the age range of people you're trying to connect with. Do you have any hobbies that don't involve spending 6-8 hours together with people you don't know that well? I get that it's a bit extra remark. Your intensity is up to 11 and it's freaking me out. Even as an extrovert, you're trying to force a dynamic that develops over decades and is almost 100% reliant on having kids about the same age. Think back to those bygone summers. And yet any of the parent friends not of kids. That is because having kids in school together provides a constant flow of casual interaction pickups, parent-teacher night, holiday, potluck for school play, etc., etc., etc. So you can figure out who you click with without committing your entire precious weekend. I also suspect that you had a kid's eye view of these summers, and many parents didn't get along as well as you think. They were included because that is what you do with your kids' friends' parents. You include them, make innocuous small talk about sports, weather, and the new third grade reading list. I guess if I had a suggestion is offer outings that are much less time intensive. Try some stuff that might take 2 hours max, including travel time to get